people have been creating money or currencies for thousands and thousands of years. And in just about every single one of these stories, it always starts with a new ruler, a virtuous society, a new currency. They keep it strong. They expand. Everybody trades in the currency. Then they expand some further. Then they have to fight a war. Then they print more money to fight the war. Then they debase the currency. Pretty soon, the currency isn't worth anything. People don't want to trade with them because they debased the currency. They inflated it away. And then at some point, the soldiers realize that the money they're being paid in is worthless, or the soldiers don't get paid. And when the soldiers don't get paid, they all mutiny or they desert. And then invariably what happens then is someone outside of those borders wins the battle. And of course, that civilization blames their decline on the barbarians. Like, it wasn't our fault. It was bad guys who speak a different language or have a different religion. They actually attacked us unprovoked. And the story is always bad people caused the collapse of our civilization. But the real story generally is the civilization got fat, dumb, and happy, and then they got arrogant, and then they started counterfeiting money, and then they forgot that you can't pay your own soldiers with counterfeit money. And somewhere between the people starving to death or all the soldiers deserting, they found that they weren't able to continue with the wars they were fighting. And then they lose the war. And then the next society rises, and then they do it all over again. And it happens. It's not a dozen times. It's not 100 times. If you read this, it's thousands and thousands of times you see the rise and the decline and the fall and the reemergence. And there are always these common principles. And the principles have to do with power and energy, right? The societies that don't know how to, if you don't understand firepower, like the Japanese, they didn't really want to embrace guns. So they just passed a law, no guns. And then the Westerners showed up with guns. The same thing happened in China for a while, where they wanted to close their borders. And so they were against modern techniques. And then the Westerners show up with firepower, and then the borders get open. And then the political power structure collapses. And then at some point, someone comes up with a better cannon, and the people in denial lose the next battle. And then somebody comes up with a better ship. And then the people in denial have less sea power, and so they get choked to death. And then someone comes up with a tank, and then there's airplanes, and it goes on like that. It's always about harnessing power, harnessing and channeling energy. And you've got the physical energy, and that's how people win the wars. And then you have the economic energy. And all the really good societies, they manage to create trading networks on a strong currency that people trust. And then eventually the grandson of the person that set it up gets a bit cheaper. And then the great grandkids get a bit cheaper. They start fighting amongst each other. Then they debase the currency. Then their armies desert them, and their trading partners don't want to trade with them. And all of the commercial energy bypasses them. And then they blame it on the